The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
Greetings and welcome to another episode of Bermuda's Feel Good Early Morning Show. Good day, Bermuda. I'm Terri Tuku alongside Jacky Lambert, and we are ready to bring you some feel good vibes this morning. Today, our feel good topic is local travel experiences. Jacky and I will be sharing our thoughts on two experiences that we had recently. Jacky will be talking about the catamaran Restless Native, and I'm going to be talking about the Black Mecca Tour by Treasures of Bermuda. Our feel-good vibe may have the Somerset fans in the audience feeling themselves, but there is still plenty of cricket to be played this year at St. George's, so do not worry. Before we get into all of that, though, let's start with our feel-good warm-up of the day. We have a question for the audience, and before we get into that question, we do want to say good morning to you, Sean Smith, and good morning to everyone that is watching with us. So our first question of the morning is this: what did you think of Somerset Cricket Club President Vashon Blanchette's conversation on the Daily Hour yesterday? As you're joining in, let us know in the comments if you saw that episode yesterday on the Daily Hour, and if you did see it, let us know your comments. If you didn't see it, let us know if you'll be watching the replay. Jack and I are going to get the conversation started now. Jack, what did you think of Vashon's comments yesterday?
It was basically everything I expected him to say. I mean, if you know, he's talking about people who are nervous about health concerns, people haven't been working. It's all stuff that you'd expect people to have concerns about. So, I mean, I'm more concerned about their training regime and stuff that they're going to be doing to prepare to beat St. George's. But everything else was basic. Everything.
It looks like Anika DeShields did not catch the conversation. So do make sure you check the conversation, Anika, because it was really good to hear the other perspective. I was one of the folks that were on Twitter after Neil Painter was on giving, like, you know, that after the challenge letter was declined from Somerset. I was like one of the first people after that conversation on the Daily Hour to be like, we need a response from SCC ASAP. I was definitely one of those people, not to stir the pot, but to get to the other side of the story, because I feel like sometimes you only hear one side, but that side's more vocal or they're more comfortable with having, you know, a conversation around the topic. It is what it is. But for me, I was like, no, we need a balanced conversation, because cop match is too big of a thing to just let one club kind of hold the story and kind of tell the narrative. So I was definitely grateful to hear, you know, the Somerset side of the story. I do feel like, and he said, he was like, there are going to be 60,000 plus different opinions on what you do when it comes to cup match specifically, right? Because it's like we all get behind cup match, whether you're from Somerset, St. George's, whether you want to pick a team who win the day of, like however you kind of decide your team, we all get behind cup match. And I think a lot of people were definitely feeling like, you know, we already lost it last year. This year we can actually play it. There's just, you know, some rules around it. Yes, it's not going to be the same, but I'm definitely glad to see. I'm glad to see that it's going to be on. I think another question for the audience: what do you think about the fact that there's, I think, 4 Saturdays left, if I'm not mistaken, before the actual match? So that means trials have to happen within that time frame. Plus, Eastern County and Western County games are starting.
Cricket season has started, basically. You don't have much time. I think he was talking about how there's very few times. They're only going to do one tryout. one trial match. So that's a cram sash. It's like, I forgot I had a task coming up. Oh my God, let's get it done. Let's figure this out. But I do, I mean, the good part about it, my favorite part about the conversation was that Somerset is willing to go down and help with St. George's preparing. So that means that they're basically all in. If they're sending members down to help set up and make sure everything's sorted out. Because they don't have as much time at all.
No, it's definitely less than a month now, because it's the end of June, and I think Cup Match is going to be the 29th and 30th, if I'm not mistaken, or 28th, 29th, something like that. So yeah, like they don't have that much time, and you know, it can be difficult to get people out to help out, even if it's for the game that we all love, the annual Classic Cup Match. So let us know in the comments if you did catch that conversation yesterday with Somerset Cricket Club president on the Daily Hour. Let us know your thoughts about that. And if you haven't had a chance to chime in on how excited or not so excited you are about Cup Match, do let us know in the comments. Jacky and I are going to switch gears a bit to get into our feel-good topic of the day. As you know, Tuesdays we focus on travel. And so Jacky and I recently experienced some local travel adventures individually. So this time we're actually sharing something that we did separately so that we can both kind of let the audience know what we experienced on our own. And then we do have a duo experience that we had with the city of Hamilton that we're going to be sharing in the upcoming week as well. Before we get into that, though, we did want to kind of start off this conversation because it's related to travel with a tweet that I saw last evening, and then I retweeted it to get people's opinions, and then Jack did post it to her WhatsApp story as well. So we kind of just want to start the conversation around travel with this before we focus on our local experiences. So I'm reading from the tweet. It is basically around a male and a female boyfriend and girlfriend who are going on a trip. So it says, "Hello. My girlfriend, myself, my parents, and my brother and his wife all went on vacation in another country a week ago. My brother and I were the ones who did most of the planning of the itinerary, although we did ask everyone else for input. For background, I make around $150,000 as an IT consultant, and my girlfriend is a teacher. She makes $45,000. My parents are pretty affluent, as well as my brother and sister-in-law. My girlfriend knew this trip was coming up and took on a second job waitressing on the weekends for several months to get ready for it. We have always split things 50-50 in the 2 years we've been together." I'm not going to go through and read the entire tweet, but I will give you the gist of the rest of it. Basically, they went on a really expensive vacation. The girlfriend took the second job, as I mentioned, to prepare for that trip. But when she got on the trip, she realized what she had prepared was not what ended up being the case. So she did things like skipping excursions. There were 6 excursions that they had planned. She only did 3 of them, and she would only eat 2 meals a day. And so at the end of the tweet, or at the end of the conversation, the person had asked, what do you think about this story? Like, what do you think about a man or a person? I won't just say a man, but in this story, it's a man who makes literally 3 times as much as his significant other, and then expecting her to pay for this trip. What are your thoughts on that? Let us know in the comments. Jack and I have our own personal opinions, and I know Jack had some friends that responded about it. So let us know in the comments how you feel about a significant other who makes substantially more than the other person, and making that other person feel like they have to, be a part of this trip and pay 50-50 just because they've done it 50-50 for the entire relationship. Jack, what did you think when you first saw this?
Well, when I first read it, I was just like, okay, so you're planning a family trip with your family, knowing full well that I can't afford it and the lifestyle that your family lives, right? You see that I pick up a second job to make sure I can afford it. But then as I'm on the trip, my routine changes. And I'm not saying that he has to pay for anything, but the fact that he acted simple makes no sense to me. Like, all of a sudden, you don't realize that your girlfriend can't afford it. She eats 3 meals, but she's only eating 2. You're talking about you hear her stomach grumbling, and you didn't take initiative and just say, okay, let me sort my girlfriend, like my significant other, out. Like, she's sitting here starving in bed next to you. You didn't say, oh, let me at least surprise her with some in-room dining. Like, obviously she feels some type of way coming to you. You know exactly how much she makes. You know all her finances, so obviously you could put two and two together. And like I said, obviously it's 50-50. Communication is key in a relationship. She could have easily come forward and said, look, I can't afford to do X, Y, and Z. But also he has all the information, and if you can't put two and two together to realize that your girlfriend can't afford it, then I don't know what else to tell you. Like,
right. You have this
you're
comment.
legit trying to miss it.
We have this comment coming in from Anika Deshiel. She says, did he clearly communicate the cause? Did they discuss the cause? As he knew she was not as well off, there should have been a discussion about his willingness to cover her shortfall. And I think so in reading the whole message, there was no part where he said he told her how much it cost. The only thing that was related to numbers was their salaries, which I feel like if I know my significant other's salary and I know I make that much more than the other person, even if we're doing 50-50, chances are we're doing 50-50 on some real low-key stuff. Like we're not spending as much on a day-to-day, because I mean, unless you can live a luxurious life day-to-day, then that makes sense. But I don't see, if your girlfriend is a teacher and you're IT consultant making 3 times as much as that person, I can't see you going out for steak dinners every evening. I can't see you, just going to Broadway if you live in New York every single night. I don't see you spending that much money every single time.
And obviously we don't know if these people are in the States or in Bermuda, right? So I just think about the typical teacher in Bermuda. They may have a salary of 45, but their take home is so much less because they're paying for all the materials to teach the children. So half the salary goes back towards the kids. So they're not actually taking all of that home. So
and then we have this comment here from Sean Smith. He says she needs to find a new man. And let's talk about that real quick, right? Because if you were in that situation, whether you were the male or the female, you were the one who was making substantially less than your significant other, and you went on this trip, and let's say, for argument's sake, you didn't know how much the trip was going to cost at the beginning. You just you picked an arbitrary amount of money that you wanted to save, and you realized it wasn't enough. And you get to the trip, you realize you got to skip meals, you realize you can't do all the excursions, et cetera, et cetera. Would you look for another mate? Would you say, okay, would that be your last straw? Or would you be open to having a conversation with your significant other to say how you felt? Because I really feel like if that was me, I would absolutely be embarrassed. I would have been so embarrassed if my significant other would just had me out there with my loud grumbling stomach. And the fact that you heard my stomach lets you know that I'm starving.
Yeah, I'm only eating 2 meals a day, and I typically eat 3. You should be concerned.
Very concerned.
Are you sick? Are you okay? Do you want me to get you some food? Are you hungry? And then she could have been like, well, I can't. It's not in my budget. I mean,
we have this comment here from Sheldon Jens, Jack.
It seems like one side of the story. It's hard to make a judgment without hearing everything. Sorry. We don't know what discussions were had between the relevant parties. Yeah, I agree.
And to be fair, it's written in his voice. So he is sharing the story. So it's not the woman sharing the story. We're responding as women, obviously. But it's written in his voice. So it's written as if he lets you know that he and his brother planned the trip. He and his family are of a certain wealth class or a certain material class. He's letting us know how many excursions they went on. They were doing wine tasting, scuba diving. So these aren't just go to Crystal Caves kind of travel experiences. These are probably top of the line experiences because their family is affluent. And then he does share that his girlfriend did get a bit emotional at one point because she was only able to afford 2 meals a day, whereas he was, just living his best life. We have another comment here from Sean Smith. He says, I have been on several trips with women in my past and never asked them to pay regardless of our income. That's good. That's good. That's really good. And
I don't want people to think that it's, if the roles were reversed, if it was me that was making more and I'm taking my significant other on a trip, just because of the person I am, I'm naturally going to be like, I got it. It's cool. I got it. Nope, it's on me. I'm going to find ways to make sure that I I take on more of the financial burden on a trip that's my family's trip that I invited you on, to make sure that you have a good time as well. If I know your income is significantly less than mine, even if you were making the same amount, that's just like the person I am. Like, I just want to make sure that everybody's having a good time. So it's not like it's because a woman or a male type thing. It's literally just, these circumstances, and you didn't pull up your socks to make sure that your girl was taken care of.
And so we have this question from Sheldon Jens that I actually want to pose to the audience as well. Do most significant others plan finances separately? So let us know if you're in a relationship, whether that's boyfriend, girlfriend, boyfriend, whether you're married, or you have like a common law situation. Like, let us know if you plan your finances with your significant other separately or together. Jacky and I are going to answer. Neither of us are in a relationship, but
I was like, well, I'm single, so there's that. I separate my finances.
We're going to answer from a perspective, if we had a significant other, would we plan separately our finances? So Jack, if you had a significant other, boyfriend or a husband, do you think you would plan your finances separately, or would you want to do them together?
Obviously, it depends on what stage of the relationship we're in. If it's been a few years, I would absolutely want to plan a majority of it together. We're working on progressing to marriage, hopefully, or if that's not in our plans, but we're progressing into forever together. So we want to make sure that we grow together, build together, which means that our finances will have to be organized together. They may not be the same pot, but it'll be nice if we had separate and then joint accounts that will be able to go towards trips, our utility bills, other things like that, and then maybe some investments together. But if it's my husband, then absolutely all in. Like, you are my forever person. Like, I don't believe in divorce, so we're gonna have to like stick through all the counseling.
So we have this comment from Larry Marshall Jr. He says it depends on how deep you are in the relationship. I agree. I would say that for me personally, I think it's about the conversation in the beginning. Like, I feel like we should be talking about finances early in our relationship, whether we're talking about how much debt we have or, our future plans for money. I feel like we should definitely be talking about it. And if we do come up to a situation where we're planning for a trip, or even if you're planning the trip as the significant other, I think at that point, we need to discuss a financial plan for the trip together. Only because I don't want to be on the trip, or I don't want my significant other to be on the trip and feel like, okay, you have to overspend because you're trying to keep up with the Joneses, i.e. those of us on the trip, or you're having to, you're feeling awkward because you're in situations where your card's declining, or you don't know if you're playing Russian roulette. Like I used to play in my 20s with my debit card. Like, we're going to see if this thing swipes. We're going to see if it works. So I agree that it definitely does depend on where you are in the relationship. But I do feel like if you're making certain plans together, you should definitely try to plan the finances together as well.
Before I go on a trip, and before I've even, people be like, Jack, you want to go on I need a budget. I need you to tell me how much it is, because I'm poor.
I'm poor. You're not poor. You are fiscally responsible.
But it sounds better. It makes them like, it like hits them like, oh my God, maybe I should really consider.
It is very emotive. And then we have a comment here from Anika DeShields. She says, finances are a necessary discussion for every couple. Absolutely. And then I wanted to come back to this comment by Carmen Mitchell-Jones, Jack.
Seems like a controlling relationship. What happens if they were to get married? Would he still expect her to pick up 50% of the bill? The relationship should have been a bit more give and take. His parents were affluent as well. One of his parents should have said something.
Absolutely. Because even in that group, you kind of know, I mean, you don't put people out there like that. Like,
yeah. Well, like my family, the family trips that I've gone on with my ex, when we went, if we went to dinner, like if we went as a family, my parents will put down their card. Like, they'd cover the bill for the entire family, because it's a family trip. And as my plus one, you'll get covered as well. So when we go on family trips, like, I tell my parents, if you're making me come on this family trip, you're paying for it. Like, come on, obviously it's a joke, but they will pay for dinner. They'll pay for majority of the excursions that they want to go on. Like, oh, let's go to do this. If it's their suggestion, they'll be like, we'll cover it. Don't worry about it, because they've been in this world long enough to be able to have a better financial budget than us. We're children.
They have some years for planning. And then so coming back to do most significant others plan their finances separately? Sean Smith says that he is married and depending on the situation determines the finances. If I'm buying something for myself, I don't have a discussion with my wife, but if we are planning something for the family, then we have a discussion. And I think that's fair, right? I think it's one of those things where you have to have the conversation early, which Anika talked about as well. Like it's a necessary discussion. Like you can't be in a relationship and want to keep your finances 100% separately. Like you have to have that conversation because otherwise you're legit going to find yourself. That's going to be a tension.
Argument?
It's going to be tension. So we have a comment coming in here from Shanta Good and Jack.
We have a travel account that we both put money in monthly aside from our other accounts. If the travel account doesn't cover everything, we divide based on activities.
That's a good idea. That's a really good idea. So if you're just joining the conversation, today is Travel Tuesday. And so we started off by talking about an interesting tweet that we saw, an interesting scenario that we saw online last evening related to travel between a boyfriend and girlfriend. And so that led us to have this discussion with you this morning. But Jacky and I did want to share 2 local experiences that we both had recently. Before Jacky starts off by talking about the Restless Native, I would like the audience to let us know, what have you done locally on the island that you would consider to be a travel experience? Have you made it down to Crystal Caves? A lot of folks, when we first asked the question, said that they hadn't been in over 5 years. So we need to know whether you have finally made it down there to Crystal and Fantasy Caves, because we're going to be taking stock. We're going to be starting to call you guys out every Tuesday. If you haven't been to Crystal Caves, we're going to call you out. Just kidding.
We're going to bully you into going.
We're not going to bully you. We're
kidding.
We're going to encourage you. We're going to encourage you into it. Absolutely. So Jack, go ahead and let us know about the Restless Native, because we did see your Jack and Rose reenactment yesterday. So let us know how we got to that point.
So I had a friend and they were trying to do a promotion video, and they asked for some extras. So I was just like, oh my God, this is perfect, because one of my friend's birthday was that weekend. So we went on board and it was so much fun. Like, I love the staff. I was an extra, but I can't wait to book and go back again. So I don't know if anybody else wants to do a boat day with me, but if you want to be an extra on my boat, it's not going to be videos and stuff. It's got no phone soon. Hit me up. But I had a great time. They kept the drinks flowing. They were very accommodating. The staff was fun. I didn't know what I wanted to drink, and I tried. I've never actually tried gin and ginger beer. That was new to me, but they had this Bermuda gin that they had on the boat, and that was amazing. And like I said, local gin, Bermudian gin, and that was so good. So they were able to tell my taste buds what I wanted, and that's something I like in life. Make it easy for me, but I had a blast. So if you guys don't know what boat to go on, give Restless Native a try. They're fun.
That sounds dope. And so coming back to our travel convo, the relationship convo, Jamal is being very, very devil's advocate. He says, nah, bro, cover your own part. Clearly, we can't go on a vacation with Jamal if we don't have the money, Jack. The family.
I'm sending a little clip to his wife.
We need we're going to cut this particular part out and we're going to send it to Nikki and be like, that's it. We're going to do the side eyes. We're just going to do the side eyes.
Doghouse now.
So if you're just joining us, do let us know in the comments if you have had a chance to go out to Crystal Caves and experience those beautiful caves over there down in Hamilton Parish, technically. And then also if you've had a chance to check out Swizzle Ian or Bailey's Ice Cream, because they're right there in the area. That's a local travel experience for you to enjoy if you're here on the island. And even if you're not here on the island, let us know a local travel experience you have kind of gotten into yourself wherever you are. Let us know in the comments. And Jack and I will continue to have our conversation. For me, most of you know, On my birthday, I did the Black Mecca Tour, which was done by Treasures of Bermuda. It was actually recommended by an audience member, Charles Jeffers II. His dad was one of the hosts, and there was also another host, Maxine Asdale. And that was a really, really great tour. I can't remember if I shared this with y'all before, but the tour was a little bit longer than expected because we bumped into Dale Butler. And that wasn't planned. It was not a part of the conversation, but bumping into Dale Butler and bumping into other like living legends, you kind of just get like an extra history lesson. And one of the things that I took away, which is key, and I feel like we talk about this and we, the millennial generation, talk about this a lot, is we need to document and record these folks that have all of the oral history, because at some point when they transition on, we're not going to have access to this information. And so there's so many things I learned about the heartbeat of Hamilton, aka Back of Town, that I just wasn't as aware of because I didn't grow up in Back of Town. My mom did, and she tries to share some things with me. But it was very refreshing to learn some things about Bermudian history and to see the site of the very first Barclay Institute. Like, I'm pretty sure I knew the name of the location, but I didn't maybe visualize where it was. And it's like right there. It's literally right there. So that was a really cool experience, and we will share the information to participate in that tour because they are still having them. They're going to be alternating between weekdays and weekends. So they will have some on Saturdays and they will have some on a weekday evening. For those that maybe cannot attend on a Saturday for religious reasons, they will have one throughout the week that will allow you to participate because it's a really good tour. I highly recommend it. I would do it again, but I probably would do it again maybe next year to kind of see what I've learned, because it was actually very, very interactive, because there were people on the tour that were like sharing what they knew about the area, which made it even more kind of like a moment where you're like, yo, we really need to just sit down and just have conversations and just record these conversations so that we can put them in places like the library so that they can live on once those people have transitioned. So we have a comment here from Shawnette Bell. She says, Swiss is closed right now. She stayed at Grotto Bay this weekend, which was amazing. She's going to Bailey's this afternoon for us afternoon snack. Let's talk about Bailey's. They are the best ice cream spot in my opinion. I'm biased. I'm very biased.
I'm not even mad at it. Like, I just thought back to our experience, and then I was thinking about how you were telling me how you used to be there. You used to walk there like every afternoon or something like that, or every weekend.
Every weekend. I used to stay Harlem Heights, and let me tell you, sometimes I would cut through the back neighborhood. So if you're familiar with the roundabout by Bayless, there's like the former post office. There's a little hill right there. You can cut through. You're not really supposed to because you are walking through people's property. But sometimes I will cut through if I really, really want my ice cream, or otherwise I will, walk around Bay Corner and get my ice cream and sit off and do the Bermudian pastime, people watch.
I love the people watch, but I still can't get over the fact that guy sat there and was talking to us. They kept asking was it me and you or me and
Lisa? You and okay, so we're gonna pin this. I do want the audience to let us know if you have not had Bailey's recently. What is a summer treat that you have had recently? Because a lot of summer treats stalls and stands have popped up. Snow is out. Ashes Lemonade is out. Tropical Snow Cone is out. Down at Horseshoe Bay, the vendors, they're open. Like everyone's outside. Okay, they are outside. So let us know in the comments. Outside is open. So if you haven't had a chance to try a new local experience or an old local experience, travel experience, let us know in the comments what are some of the treats that you have enjoyed thus far this summer. Because Jack and I are going to talk to y'all about our Bailey's experience. So y'all know that Bermudian uncles, they will tell you that they know you and they don't know you. So
but we can't go with it.
So we're going to set the scene. So it's Jack, myself, Delisa, and Neil. We're all sitting at our table. We're eating ice cream, and Uncle's over there. He's finished talking to the owner of the ice cream shop. So he's getting ready to leave. He's been out there for hours, he looked like.
Yeah.
Getting ready to leave. So Delisa and Jackie are sitting across from each other at the table. And he's like, I know you, don't I? And Jack's like,
maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I know you. Yeah, I know you. You two sisters, right? I saw you on a bike, right? Back-a-thon. Like, he just started going on and sharing. He made up this entire story, and Jacky and Delisa like, yeah, sometimes I ride my bike.
I'm like, is he talking about a motorbike or a paddle bike? And then he was just like, yeah, you know, Ron Palmetto Road. And we was just like, yeah. Because at this point, he has told us his entire life story, and we just want him to enjoy his day elsewhere because we're trying to have a conversation. And he keeps interrupting us. And we're just like, yes, that's us. But it didn't help because he stuck around for another, like, what,
and then
10, 15 minutes? Then
it gets to the part in the conversation. I'm like, all right, after 5 minutes, I'm checked out. Like, he tried to get me to that conversation. I was like, we ain't doing this. We ain't doing this. So I gave him like one answer, and that was it. Afterwards, he ended up telling us that he used to fix bikes. He did this. He used to walk around barefoot. The man told us just about everything about himself.
Where to buy oil in bulk for your bike.
Because it's too expensive to get it changed at the shop. And I was just like, you know what, Unc? I'm going to just keep enjoying my ice cream. You better talk to these two. Eventually, he got the hit because someone came by. I think someone else came by to talk to him when he got distracted. And we were like, yes. And we just
I was just like, somebody drove and I was just like, oh, I think that person's trying to talk to you.
Jacky did the whole squirrel thing with him. He was like, oh, look, a squirrel. Go get the squirrel.
Remember, I work with children, right? So it's so easily to, you know, get them to focus back in on something else. So
coming back to the summer treats comments or question that we asked it the audience, or what have you had recently as a summer treat? It looks like Shanette Bell has had snowballs. Another one here from Anika DeShields, Jack.
Snowball from Kinleyfield Road Vendor. I haven't gone down that far to get any, but I haven't been down there in like a month.
I've been down there for Funzin. So I did mention yesterday that the business that I supported recently was Funzin, and I have seen the stand there. They weren't open; it was late at night. But I have seen the stand, but I haven't ventured down there for their snowballs as well. I feel like we should probably do like a snowball tour.
I know, because right now I'm with Cupcake Company, Snowball Shack on Palmetto Road. I love his because I got a large, and he gives a good amount of syrup, and the ice is just perfect. Oh my god, I'm getting
Jacky loves those larges, y'all. Jacky loves her large. And then we have a comment from Janae Pereira Edna. She says the new Mix and Roll ice cream truck on Front Street.
See, I can't do ice cream. Do they do dairy free?
Yes. Do they have dairy free ice cream? I mean, I can still low key do lactose. It's just gonna have to be like a private event.
I'll have to wait till I get home.
But this just the way when Janae wrote that out, it reminds me of Cold Stone. Like, I don't know if they're like mixing like Cold Stone, but Cold Stone used to be my spot in Atlanta. I used to go there every weekend during the summer without fail, by myself, with my friends. I didn't care. My ex girl actually lived right across the street from it, so I would like use her as an excuse.
It's a franchise, right?
It is, yes.
Right? Because I had it when I was in Indiana, so they didn't have it in Florida, I don't think, not where I was. But whenever I used to fly up to Indiana to my sister, she'd always make me, and I'm just like, I can't do ice cream. Like, why aren't you listening to me? But she knew that it was my weakness. So I'd be like, all right, cool, I'll have some. But then I was parked because like my stomach's all bloated.
So coming back to Uncle that we met at Bayless, he absolutely mustn't know our people, Anika. We do believe that he knew our people because somehow, some way, Jacky and Delisa were related. They are not, but according to him, they were sisters.
We're sisters.
And then we have another comment here from Janae Pereira Edna. She says, I also had the Around the World sherbet from Scoops. Wow.
That's right next to us. That's right here.
It is. I actually do like their ice cream. I've been up there, I think 2 years ago, before the penny. I was up to Scoops, and I would write him about Scoops. I would absolutely write him about Scoops.
I used to be obsessed with their birthday cake ice cream.
We have this comment here from Sean Smith, Jack.
Does store-bought ice cream count as I'm not in Bermuda?
I mean, we'll make it count because it's a summer treat. I feel like there's probably some vendor around your area that could have summer treats. So I feel like we need you to do a little bit better in exploring wherever you are.
Yeah.
Before we get ready to wrap up our feel-good topic of the day, we did want to come back to the conversation that we started this Travel Tuesday off with, which was the relationship debacle on a vacation. That was definitely on a vacation. You know how people are trying to like, oh, I'm going on a vacation with Bae, and like it's a vacation. That was like not a vacation at all.
That was a family trip.
I would never in my life call that a vacation that I went on with Bae. That's just my friend invited me because family to go somewhere.
I was an extra in the scene.
Extra. We had this question from Shadon Jen. She said, relationships aside, should you really be going on a trip if you have to take on a second job just to go? And that's a comment or question for the audience as well, because like, I mean, I feel like it's a very interesting question because in certain situations, yes, I would reckon, because what if you're underpaid or you're working a part-time job and so you get another part-time job to create a full-time income? I feel like in my mind that I think it's okay to get a second
I've done it.
But I guess if your full-time job cannot cover your expenses, then I could see Sheldon's point. I can see the question. So let us know in the comments what your thoughts are on taking up a second job in order to pay for a vacation. Because it's definitely one of those, I guess, I don't want to say questionable things to do, but it is something that if you have to do it, you maybe should be thinking a little bit more about why you have to take a job versus just the second job. Because I mean, I don't think some people get second jobs because they just like to roll in the dough.
Yeah, I've had multiple jobs, not to actually take the trip. I just, like you said, I like extra money. And if somebody's like, hey, Jack, you want to hustle? I'm just like, yeah, sure. What else am I going to do? Sit at home on the couch and eat? Like, I'll just go at work and eat.
Absolutely. So we are getting ready to get into our feel-good vibe of the day. But before we get into that, do make sure you head over to the Daily Hour at 8 a.m. where Jamel and Michaela will be having a conversation with Rashida Godwin of Titan Express. They're going to be talking about Mary Prince and emancipation. That is something that you do not want to miss. And if you missed earlier, we mentioned that our Feel Good Vibe today is probably going to have the Somerset fans in the audience very excited about the potential for a cop match. However, if you are a St. George's fan, do not fret or worry, because this might not be how this goes down. So check this out.
Watch your boy Greg. What you gonna do with that fire? Watch it. Walk it off, cousin. Walk it off. Walk it off. You got a few more weeks to get it together. Come next around the corner, kid. It's just around the corner. Quack, quack. What's coming up next? Quack, quack. What?
One thing about Sean is that he always gives us the best, very best feel good vibes. So whether you're Somerset, St. George's, whether you are just going to pick a team on Cop Match, we hope that today's Feel Good Vibe has you ready to celebrate Cop Match, because it is still happening this year. No matter what team you support, don't let this video fool you, though. There's definitely still plenty of cricket to be played. We hope that today's Feel Good Vibe of the day has you ready to make it a great one. I'm Terri Tuku alongside Jackie Lambert. We trust that we will see you tomorrow, same time, same place. Until the next episode, peace and have a good day, Bermuda.